Way back in February, I made a video called The Drew McIntyre Problem, where I talked about how from the moment Drew lost the WWE Championship to The Miz at Elimination Chamber, from that moment on, it seemed like there was a bit of a shift as far as the IWC and the YWC, just the general wrestling community, not fully turning on Drew McIntyre, but it went from the mass majority being, full of praise for the guy, to all of a sudden, just because The Miz won the title back in February at the Chamber, a bunch of fans seemed to turn on Drew at that moment. And that's kind of manifested through 2021. And now we're sitting here at the very end of September, going on to the beginning of October 2021. And Drew McIntyre online is getting the same sort of treatment that a Charlotte Flair gets, that a Roman Reigns a la 2015 gets, that a John Cena late 2000s got, in the sense that he's challenging for the World Championship again, and people are bitching. Oh my god, what's new? What else is new? Like, this whole situation with Drew, I find really interesting. It's a perfect peak, ultimate example of the wrestling community at its absolute, I would say best sarcastically, but it's ultimately near enough the absolute worst. Essentially, I started this channel in December of 2019. When I started this, Drew McIntyre was one of those guys who, near enough unanimously in the IWC, people were crying out for that, oh my god, Drew deserves a push. This is Drew McIntyre's time. Drew McIntyre, this is his moment. Drew McIntyre needs to win the Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre needs to get a push. Hashtag push Drew. Come on WWE. Push Drew McIntyre. That was the general feeling, the general vibe in the community. December 2019, January 2020. Drew wins the Rumble, okay? Drew wins the 2020 Royal Rumble. He has all the momentum in the world. Unfortunately, the pandemic happens, but nonetheless, he still beats Brock. Main event of WrestleMania 36. Beats the Big Show in the other main event of WrestleMania 36, okay? Drew McIntyre's on top of the world. In 2020, him alongside Randy Orton and Edge single-handedly carried Raw near enough the whole year. Without them, that show would have been the worst television program ever put on TV. So Drew McIntyre carries WWE through a global pandemic as their champion on Raw, gets through that, does pretty damn well for what he was given. Drew McIntyre would make bad material consistently at least decent. Okay, Drew did all of that. You roll into 2021, he beats Goldberg at the Rumble. Seemingly, the wrestling community loves Drew McIntyre. He beat the evil, horrible Bill Goldberg in a one-on-one match at the Rumble. He retained his title. And then he lost it at the Chamber, and like the flick of a switch, like turning on a light switch, everything changed. Like, from going from light to dark, the community went from going from, oh, Drew McIntyre, I really like him, he beat Goldberg, had a really great reign, carried the WWE through a pandemic, he's this great champion, what have you. And then all of a sudden, it just became the cool thing online in the wrestling community to just crap on Drew McIntyre and say, oh, I want someone new in the title picture, I want someone fresh, I'm sick of Drew, I'm bored of Drew, give someone else a go. It's just, and now we're in this position, okay? Now Drew McIntyre, he challenged for the title at WrestleMania 37, took a fat L to Bobby Lashley. He was in the triple threat match at WrestleMania Backlash, took a fat L, had a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell against Lashley. Really good match, took a fat L. He was in the Money in the Bank match, took a fat L. Then he had a feud with Jinder Mahal. Okay, Drew McIntyre feuded with Jinder friggin' Mahal for literally 2 and a bit months. Drew McIntyre had a whole storyline where he was trying to fling a sword around at Veer and Shanky. Okay, Drew McIntyre was swinging a sword at a 6'4" Indian man who may allegedly have used steroids in the past few years. That's what Drew's been doing for the past few months. And now Drew McIntyre, as of the ending to this past week's episode of Raw, came out to confront Big E. So now what we're going to get, most likely at Crown Jewel, is Big E versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. And people are pissed. What else is new? People on wrestling Twitter, as I alluded to before, give someone else a go, damn it. I'm sick of Drew. Can we not get anyone else in this title picture? I'm done. Drew McIntyre's overpushed. Give someone else a go. People are just excited to be mad at Drew. Keen to turn on Drew. It's this fickle fans thing that the holy Bryan Danielson infamously said in 2018. The fickle fans. Now Drew McIntyre, on wrestling Twitter at least, he's near enough getting to public enemy #1 status. He's really unpopular. Give someone else a go. We're sick of Drew. Look, to me, I see Drew McIntyre as a 6'5", beastly Scotsman who's, guess what? Here comes my buzzwords: legitimate, credible, interesting, can create a compelling match, really damn good wrestler, 5-tool player as far as the wrestling side of things goes. I see Drew McIntyre having another title match. I'm like, sure, why not? Who else is better? Who would you rather see in this title spot instead of Drew McIntyre against Big E? Like, I'm going to go through the Raw roster real quick right now. Who would you rather see against Big E get this chance? Would you rather see, I don't know, well, not Elias. Everyone hates Elias according to this. Jeff Hardy. I guess Jeff Hardy's one. I'd like to see Jeff Hardy get a title shot, but the fact that Drew's getting one said Jeff Hardy, I'm not going to fake outrage on Twitter and spend an hour and a half trying to get hashtag get Drew out of the title picture trending. I'm not going to waste my time getting mad because Jeff Hardy's not getting a match instead of Drew McIntyre. Like, Jeff Hardy, he's won. Who else on this roster? Literally, who else on this roster could legitimately get a title match with Big E right now and it would mean anything? It would make any sense. I'm trying to look right now. Keith Bearcat Lee, the same guy who Wrestling Twitter was trying to laugh at the whole episode of Raw. You want Keith Bearcat Lee with this new Bearcat nickname getting a match against Big E when Keith Lee's been off TV for the better part of the past year. You want Keith Lee there. Who else do you want? Do you want John Morrison? You want Johnny Drip Drip, the same guy who's been jacking off dripsticks and spraying them on the front row in Dallas for the past 6 months. You want Johnny Drip Drip jacking off dripsticks on Big E. The same people who cry out for a more serious main event saying you want Johnny Drip Drip and Big E. Quite literally the least serious main event you could possibly think of. Or what? Do you want Karrion Kross, the same guy who most of Wrestling Twitter has spent months complaining about, saying that he can't wrestle, he's not good, he's being pushed too fast, but yet as soon as he goes to the main roster, he's buried, he sucks, he's bad, what have you. Like, you want Karrion Kross to be facing Big E in the main event, the same Kross who most of you have been complaining about for the past few months, saying he can't wrestle? Or who else do you want? Do you want Mustafa Ali, a lower mid-card guy, facing Big E for the title? Do you want Matt Riddle? Well, most people on Twitter hate Matt Riddle, so probably not. Do you want Sheamus challenging Big E for the WWE Championship? We saw that on SmackDown like a year ago in a feud. Like, we don't need to see that. Like who on this Raw roster outside of Drew McIntyre right now can make a legitimately good opponent? AJ Styles is in the middle of a feud with Orton and Riddle. Styles is a decent option. I'll give you Styles. Styles is one, and who? Styles and maybe Jeff Hardy. Both of which would be random. Matches would be pretty good. But, like, look at Drew McIntyre, dude. Like, why not Drew? I get it. He's been in a few title matches in the past year and a half. Whoopie-doo. Who else could you possibly have in that spot? Who else? Do you want the title scene to be Ali versus Ziggler just because it's not Drew McIntyre? Because Drew McIntyre is stale, damn it. We want to see something new, something fresh. We want Ali versus Big E in the main event scene. Like this is one of these things. Like, with this mentality, you're always going to be inherently shooting yourself in the foot just to try and see something new, see something fresh, okay? This is the wrestling fan fickle mentality that Brian infamously spoke about in 2019. This is that mentality of never being happy for the long term, always wanting the new, always wanting the fresh. Look at AEW with the debuts. Tony Khan's Toy Box. Tony Khan gets a new toy, a new shiny toy like a CM Punk, or a new shiny toy like a Bryan Danielson or Adam Cole, or just you name them, Ruby Soho, Malachi Black, Andrade Alito. Gets all these new toys, it's really cool for about a week or two, and then all of a sudden you put the toy away. That's what these people, that's what this wrestling community wants as far as Big E's WWE Championship contenders. They want a shiny new toy. You want something new, something fresh. I want to see Ali challenging Big E. That'd be new, that'd be fresh, that'd be a really good in-ring match. I want Karrion Kross versus Big E. Even though I spent 2 months complaining on Twitter about Karrion Kross. I want Karrion Kross versus Big E, damn it. Like, I want something new, something fresh. Then when I get it, and when I get something new and something fresh, I'm going to complain about it in about a month because then it won't be new or fresh anymore. I want the new fresh. Like, this is the mentality. This is wrestling. This is what we have to deal with. And I'm just sick of it as far as, well, with Drew. Like, who bloody cares? It's Crown Jewel. It's Drew McIntyre versus Big E. That's a pretty damn cool, fun match to me. I'm going to enjoy it, And it's just, that's, at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, Drew versus Big E is a really good main event of Raw type match, main event, co-main event of a pay-per-view is WWE Championship type match. It's going to be a fun little feud, and at the end of the day, that's all we can really ask for. So I'm happy about it. Hopefully a bunch of you are. That's been the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, be sure to like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. And yeah, in closing, just shut up with the Drew McIntyre slander. Honestly, it's wearing thin already. It's only going to get worse. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, sub.